Live on a Tuesday talking about Titans training camp as it officially gets underway today with a Mike Vrabel press conference at 11:30 Central Time. Later this morning, the Titans players are reporting to camp later on today and practice for the first time tomorrow with this brand new 2021 new look Titans offense. And Zach has one unique thing about this Titans training camp compared to the last 10 years and what separates this year's Titans training camp. So we'll discuss that. I have no idea where Zach's going to go with that one unique thing that separates this Titans training camp. But what are you most excited for about this Titans training camp? Well, there's so many different storylines, expectations on this offense, expectations on the entire team. Derrick Henry, can he go for back-to-back 2,000 yards with a new offensive coordinator? Shane Bowen actually has the D coordinator title. So what excites you the most about this training camp? And then A.J. Brown was in one top 10 list for wide receivers earlier in the month, left out of a top 10 list of wide receivers yesterday that came out. So we'll discuss that, what he was snubbed with. And then it is Tuesday Sports Trivia to wrap up our show. So we're going to have a good time here on this Tuesday. Zach, welcome in.
Yeah, glad to be here on a Tuesday. We are so close to Titans training camp, which is great. We're so close to NFL training camp, which is unbelievable. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday morning. Before we get going, we are broadcasting live on 4 different platforms, including Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and on Facebook. If you're watching on Twitter, please retweet the broadcast. We need to pop up in your Twitter followers timeline. That would help us out a great deal. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, search A to Z Sports. You will see us right there. A to Z Sports is evolving. We're improving. Our expectations, our standards are getting higher. And you will see that in a lot of different things of A to Z Sports here in the next coming weeks. But subscribe to our YouTube channel. You got tons of content going out right there. And on Facebook, what's going on, Facebookers? More people will pile in over the next 5 to 10 minutes. As you guys do, please share the show. Bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing. Let's get this party started.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports powered by BetMGM. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over the socials, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for our show, and they help out you guys. Renters Warehouse Nashville, the professional landlords in the area at renterswarehouse.com. Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness, where one 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room at mandu.com. Your first workout's free. Wilson County Hyundai, find your next ride at wilsoncountyhyundai.com in Lebanon. Calvin and Settle for your brand new hardwood floors and finishings. They're simply at calvinandsettle.com. And the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Again, boneandjointtn.org. So training camp starts tomorrow on the practice field. And Aaron Rodgers, that news coming out yesterday that he will play in Green Bay to kind of round up that story. But Zach, one unique thing that separates this Titans training camp from years past, what is that?
Well, it's something that actually you brought up or brought to my attention this morning as we were doing our pre-show conversation. Oh. And it really had me thinking. And I've covered training camp for 10 plus years. I don't know, it's 10 or 12, one of the two. But going into this season, because of the structure of the Titans roster, there's really not a lot of camp competition, if any. I mean, I can name you all the starters on the offense, and I think I can name you all the starters on the defense, maybe the third cornerback. That was the only question mark that I possibly could have. But going into this training camp, this starting and depth obviously is a completely different situation, but usually some guys vying for a job, some guys competing for a starting gig. They usually set that up, whether it's an interior offensive lineman, whether it's tight end, whether it's back half of a defense, whether it's a pass rusher. But this year, it seems like, and this is, kudos to John Robinson of setting it up this way. This is the most stable roster heading into training camp I've ever seen.
It's very stable. I will say, Louis brings up your favorite of the competitions, the kicker. Who's the kicker? That is a big one, Zach, that for the third year in a row, we are wondering who the Titans kicker will be as training camp begins.
And so 2 things on that. Maybe I'm numb because for 3 years, it's been the same damn way. And then if the kicker, and you know how I feel about the kicker, but if we're talking about the kicking situation, which we have for some time, that may be just Mike Vrabel's style. Like that just may be because John Robinson, he put this roster together. They've come together and communicated. But when I talk about offense and defense, you have a very good point on the special teams, and we know Brett Kern will be there. But the 11 on offense and 11 on defense, is there a starting spot that is available?
Yes, there is. It's right tackle. Right tackle, I think, is wide open because Dennis Kelly was actually visiting the Texans yesterday. It was the reports. But right tackle's wide open, and that's between Kendall Lamb, who they signed from the Cleveland Browns in the offseason, and potentially rookie second-round pick Dylan Radins. And that's a big one because you're talking about Derrick Henry in the offensive line, like as banged up as that O-line was last year because of Lawan being out with the ACL. Ty Sambrailo, who is on the PUP list to begin camp, who filled in for Lawan. He got injured, and that's why he's on the PUP list to start training camp. But yeah, there's a big hole right there at right tackle because you feel so good about the other 10 spots, right? Like, left tackle to right guard, Lawan, Saffold, Ben Jones, Nate Davis. Those guys have been playing, and they are solid. Then you've got Julio, AJ, and Josh Reynolds as your top 3 wideouts, Derrick Henry and Darrington Evans in the backfield, Ryan Tannehill as your starter, Anthony Ferkser is the starting tight end with Jeff Swain. They have the roles. Maybe we're suspect about the ability that they can play bigger roles without Jonnu Smith, but the starters are at least like in pen, or I don't know if they're in pen, but they're at least in pencil. There's no besides right tackle, there's no dual starters battling for a position.
And that right tackle that you bring up it's money or youth, right? So
the money is not expensive. It's Kendall Lamb's making $3.5 million a year.
Well, he's making more than Dylan Radins.
Well, yes.
So, but in that sense, if Radins wins, I mean, that's best case scenario, right?
Absolutely. Because Kendall Lamb is viewed as a swing tackle that will be able to help you out. Maybe he can be that extra big body tight end that Dennis Kelly was for a lot of his Titans career and can play on either side. And he caught a touchdown pass against the Titans last year for the Browns playing that jumbo tight end position. So I think Kendall Lamb and Dylan Radins, that's what the main thing is. Chris Cole says it's not necessarily the point, therefore position battle going into camp. So I feel like you're not wrong overall because there's not a lot of starting jobs up for grabs, but there are a lot of people who have something to prove in their expanded role as a starter.
But as you talk about stability, this is the least starting positions open for competition that I have seen in a very, very, very long time.
Okay, I mean, let's talk more about that.
Because I'd like to talk about the strong safety and Amani Hooker.
And I want to do that. So we'll basically ask, here's the question. We're going to do this together as a team. What are the starting jobs up for grabs going in the training camp? So we know right tackle is one, but what are the starting jobs open for the Titans going into training camp? I'm not talking about the depth jobs. There's obviously competition a lot when it comes to depth for this roster, but what are these starting jobs available in camp going into camp for these battles? But first, let me tell you guys about renterswarehouse.com. They have tons of availability in their inventory for rental property. And if you want to jump on that, you absolutely can. Go to renterswarehouse.com to see all the great inventory across the mid-state, whether it's townhomes, apartments, condos, houses, duplexes, whatever it might be. Renterswarehouse.com has it. Also, if you're a rental property owner and you've been doing all the work the last little bit, shed the work. Don't do the work. Let the pros do it and let you just get the money. That's it. That's what Renters Warehouse does for a low monthly rate right there at renterswarehouse.com. Go let the pros handle your property at renterswarehouse.com.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. Download the app today and use that promo code ATOZ Sports. New users, you can't beat this. You are going to get a $600 risk-free bet. You cannot beat that. So new users, $600 risk-free bet, code ATOZ Sports. Download the app in the App Store today.
So we know right tackle, right? Right tackle is open. What are the other starting jobs we think are open heading into Titans training camp, Zach? What are the comments saying?
Well, we had a couple of comments coming in on nose tackle. Obviously, and I think Louis brought this up, but Grant brings it up too, is kicker. Let me ask you this, Austin. Is this a Mike Vrabel thing, or is this like just kicking competition because they don't have one, right? Like I cannot figure that one out.
Well, it's confusing because it's just been so mishandled for the last 3 years because
they don't value it though.
Well, but they did value it with Ryan Suckup because they were paying Ryan Suckup like $3 or $4 million a year to be their kicker.
And then they mismanaged him and cut him.
They mismanaged his injury, and then they were forced to cut him because of the money he was making. And then it's been a rotating door of kickers. Steven Gostkowski came in, who was also playing through an injury most of last year too, that you've talked about throughout this offseason. And now he's contemplating retirement maybe. He doesn't know if he wants to play this season. So now the Titans have Tucker McCann, undrafted rookie from last year from Missouri, and then the Ohio State undrafted free agent rookie from this year, and they're just going to battle it out. So I don't know if Mike Vrabel just feels like he can pick up a kicker at any moment and move forward with him.
Or he scores enough touchdowns.
Yeah, but like we've seen this position burn Mike Vrabel several times by handling it this way. So right tackle is one, kicker is absolutely another one. So there's two right there. What are other comments saying about how many actually starting jobs are available for the Titans heading into camp?
What about Charles saying nose tackle?
So nose tackle, it's just not a prevalent role in the defense. So I don't know if that counts as a starting job because you have Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry, who are your starting defensive linemen. And then how many other linebackers, outside rushers do they have on the field? So I feel like nose tackle is a specific role that's a part-time player, right?
All right. Okay. So we move on. What about Maven Cole's punt returner? He does LOL at the end, but return man.
Kick returner, punt returner. I don't necessarily think those are starting jobs. Like,
no, those are the guys that can plug. It's like and this is how the Titans, especially Mike Vrabel, does it. He values guys that can play special teams and play the gritty positions that maybe nobody wants to play. Punt returner and kick returner. We're not talking about Dante Hall and the guys that glorified that position. That is a tough, grinded out job that is not fun. Now, they've gone safe before, like in the Titans history, and then they've gone risky before, right? I'm always curious to see what they're going to do because, Mark Mariani, safe. You had Dexter McCluster back in the day who wasn't as safe, more risky. They didn't do very well for the Titans compared to his time in Kansas City. But I don't necessarily pick that out. I think that's once the roster kind of maturates, then you find out who could catch punch and catch kicks, and run the football.
Yeah, and so like I don't necessarily see that. It's a specialty role that will be. I feel like a lot of you guys have said, and Jeffrey says nose tackle isn't a starting position in the Titans defense just for certain schemes. Yeah, the Titans use a nose tackle maybe 18% of the snaps throughout a game. And so it's not a primary role that's up for grabs. So I still think we're at kicker's legitimate, right tackle's legitimate.
Corner?
Corner, it's because, and I think you can realistically say there are 3 starting cornerbacks, right? Outside, nickel. I think that is legitimately, there are 3. I think Janoris Jackrabbit Jenkins has one of them, right?
You love to hear it.
I think Christian Fulton has one of them too. Janoris is at the outside job. I think Fulton can be either at the outside or the inside. So who is the third guy on this? Because we know Caleb Farley is on the non-football injury list. So he's not going to be out there immediately. He's going to have to earn this. So I do think one corner spot is up for grabs. You've got guys like Breon Borders, who did a good job last year stepping in a situation he was kind of thrown into mid-season. Elijah Molden, who's a rookie, who was it? Lewis Riddick, I think, called him a Jedi in the slot, was Elijah Molden. So maybe Elijah Molden can be your starting nickel.
They need a Jedi in the slot.
Yeah. If he's the Jedi in the slot, Molden's is the starter there. And then you have Fulton on the outside with Old Man Jenkins on the other outside position. So I think there's different possibilities of how to move these pieces around. But I would say one corner job is up for grabs too.
All right, so we're at kicker, we're at right tackle, and we're at third corner.
Yeah.
What about strong safety? I think this is Amani Hooker's job.
I think it's Amani Hooker's job to lose. And
I don't know if he can lose it.
Because they also have Matthias Farley, who is a veteran free agent safety they picked up in free agency. I don't think he is pushing Amani Hooker for the starting role. I think Elijah Molden can play some of that third safety as well. Dane Cruikshank still on the roster.
Hooker has played well in his short career. And I think he's come up in big spots when the back half of that defense was not rolling, right? And he played multiple positions, so hybrid. And I think this is his opportunity to kind of take that safety job. I don't think that this is a position up for grabs. I think, are we at 3?
We're at 3 right now.
3.
Now, here's
not many NFL football teams just have 3 positions: special teams, offense, and defense. Those are the only ones up for grabs.
So here's an interesting one, because right now Bud Dupree's on physically unable to perform list 2 as he is returning from his ACL. So Bud Dupree, being paid $82.5 million over the next 5 years, is going to be the starting outside linebacker. But right now, who's the opposite of Harold Landry on the practice field tomorrow? Because
they're not competing for a starting job, but it's a good question.
It's a very good question, because they're on the practice field tomorrow without Bud Dupree. Who's lining up with first-team defense? They just cut Wyatt Ray. So is it the John Simon guy they just picked up 3 days ago? Is it Derek Roberson?
Probably.
Rob says that's scary.
Probably.
Rashad Weaver? I mean, are you going to put the fourth-round rookie draft pick in there to get him, as many reps as possible while they're available?
Has his legal troubles settled out?
I believe the court date is early October. So
what do they do? They're not cutting him. They kept him.
He has signed his contract, his rookie deal, and he is playing until otherwise.
Yeah, I called that from a mile away when it happened. You let the dust settle, and then nobody's talking about it, and then you let the legal thing maybe get some money. They settle. That was, you could tell exactly what was going to happen there.
Nate says, go get Chandler Jones with imaginary cap space. Titans have around $8 million of cap space, and Chandler Jones is unhappy in Arizona.
So that's something to look for this week is who is at, I mean, this is why we do this show. Heading into camp, before Vrabel has his opening training camp press conference, who is going to replace Bud Dupree in practice leading up to the season during training camp?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
It is a good question because we don't know how long Bud Dupree will be on the PUP list. There's another position that was brought up in the chat that I want to mention. Let me see if I can find the comment that went away. It was about long snapper, because Bo Brinkley is no longer here. And I don't even know which long snapper they kept around from last year, trying to replace Bo Brinkley midseason after he was had his COVID situation. But Morgan Cox, formerly of the Ravens, out of University of Tennessee, is on the roster as the long snapper.
Oh,
so,
yeah. So coincidentally, how old is Morgan Cox?
Morgan
He's got to be
Cox,
like my age.
He is 35 years old.
Yeah. I had
12-year pro.
One of my best friends was friends with Morgan Cox at the University of Tennessee. And I remember he went to the Ravens. He got a Super Bowl in 2012.
Yeah.
And we always joke around how Morgan Cox has the best job of anybody that my friend has ever met.
I went to a date party with Morgan Cox in college.
Not together, but
no, yeah, we were in the same group.
I messed up the trousers. Pull your pants up yesterday. Yeah, you messed that one up. So
we were in the same group, and it was the year before he won the Super Bowl, and then the next year I'm like, damn, that guy just won a Super Bowl. Like, what the hell are we? It was funny, but he's a good guy. So. Morgan Cox.
You feel comfortable. I'm not worried about that. I think he is perfectly fine as long snapper. He is a veteran. It's not like he just came out of some small school and is his first NFL experience. That's not the case. So you got 3.
Yeah,
that solidifies what I was trying to say for this entire show is the uniqueness of this training camp. Only 3 positions are really up for grabs when it comes to starters. You don't find that in NFL training camps. Coaches love competition too much to have that, but that's a great sign for a team, as we talk about, vying to win a Super Bowl in 2021.
Yeah, but I think you have, let's say, maybe there's only 3 open jobs, but I think there's 3 or 4 new starters that you have to figure out if you can trust them. And I'm going to go through those. I got 4 names that will have an expanded role I want to know which of the 4 we trust the absolute most. But first, Zach, tell everybody about Wilson County Hyundai.
Yeah, Wilson County Hyundai is where to go to get your next ride. The 2021 Palisade, in which I talk about all the time, could be your perfect make and model. Maybe it's the Sonata, like I drive. I love my Sonata. It is quality. It is unbelievable fuel efficiency. It is a great 4-door sedan. You got the Elantra. You got the Santa Fe. But you also have that brand new Palisade, which is dynamite. Both Austin and I have test-driven the Palisade. And the full-size SUV gives you comfort, it gives you fuel efficiency, but it also gives you style. It's like the perfect car for your family. Trade in that crap-ass minivan, okay? Don't be a minivan family, all right? Be a Hyundai Palisade family. That's the direction you need to go. So if you've been looking around for a brand new car or a used car, Payne Bone and his team will hook you up at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. You can look at their inventory, but I would take the quick trip to I-40 exit 236. Go there real quick trip, test drive one today. The Palisade could be your perfect car.
A to Z Sports, we are powered every morning by BetMGM. Download the app, use our code ATOZ Sports. You get a risk-free bet up to $600 with your first deposit and your first bet. Go to BetMGM. Download the app. Again, that code is ATOZ Sports. We're actually going to talk about something with BetMGM tomorrow with the Titans. That's a trend that we've been following. Looking forward to that conversation tomorrow morning. But visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years or older. Must be present in Tennessee. For gambling problem support, call a Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. So, Zach, we have figured out that there are 3 jobs really open, starting jobs open for the Titans. It's right tackle, kicker, and then one of the corner starting roles. So I've got 4 new Titans starters. And
corner spot is usually a revolving door because of the style of football offenses play. You have to have cornerbacks on deck. At least they have them, right?
You know what they say is you can never have too many cornerbacks.
Yeah.
And so that is one to definitely watch. So These four guys, Zach, I'll start on the offense. I got 2 on offense, 2 on defense. I want to know which of these 4 guys do we trust the most in their new starting elevated roles as Titans players. On offense, you have Anthony Firkser at tight end and Josh Reynolds as the slot / third wide receiver replacing Adam Humphries. So you got Firkser and Josh Reynolds. On defense, you have Amani Hooker and Christian Fulton. Which of those 4 guys stepping into a big role do you trust the most? Because like we've seen Josh Reynolds with the LA Rams for 4 years play a solid role. You've seen Anthony Firkser play a limited role, specific role in the Titans offense. Same with Amani Hooker, a limited role in the Titans defense, but looked good doing it. Now he's full-time starter just like Firkser. And then you got Christian Fulton, who was injured last year. He had COVID last year, was in and out. He had some moments. He looked nice, but as any rookie, he gets burned. So which of these 4 do you trust the most?
Well, as far as like targets, if you just go through like Josh Reynolds, once they got Julio Jones, his life got easier. Like I know that he probably wanted the pressure and wanted the opportunity, but what is he? He's trying to outdo Adam Humphries that had 374 yards his first year with the Titans and 228 yards his second year. Obviously, due to injury, he only played 12 games the first year and 7 games the second year. But you got to think Josh Reynolds can do that. It's just about will he see the ball?
Josh Reynolds has played more football than the other 3.
Right. And
but he's new with the Titans.
I think Josh Reynolds is in a category where I could be fighting for him. Firk, I think this role for him, I don't want to say it's too big, but I have some doubts because of what they could ask him to do consistently. But he's got big guys and big names around him, which will help him. So that kind of goes back and forth. I think Amani Hooker is going to do just fine. So now I'm
yeah, okay. Which you're pulling to me. You're talking to the
then Christian Fulton. Christian Fulton's probably the least because he has the least experience.
But I also think Christian Fulton has the most pressure on him this year. Of the four, Christian Fulton has the most pressure on him.
Because they drafted Caleb Farley, so I disagree with that.
Who's on the NFI list? I think Christian
he will come back.
They draft. I mean, yes, maybe. We have no idea the timeline for.
He's a first-round pick, but trying to take his job.
We have no idea the timeline for Caleb Farley. Christian Fulton was a second-round pick last year who played under 300 snaps as a second-round pick as a rookie because of several reasons, and the Titans' defense was awful. And he has to win.
Slide into that third spot if Farley comes out and shows out. So, there's protection.
I think there's even more pressure on Christian Fulton because they drafted a guy at his position.
He slides over. There's 3 spots. There's not 2. We talked about it.
So I think Fulton has the most pressure. Who do you have the most trust in of the 4? You've talked through it all. Who do you trust the most in their new role?
Straight in gut. I think I'm going to get burned on this, but I think it's Amani Hooker. I like Amani Hooker, and maybe I'm biased, but I like Amani Hooker. I think Josh Reynolds could have a very easier role because I don't know how many balls he's going to get.
Yeah.
How many targets Josh between Derrick Henry toting the rock, Darrington Evans out of the backfield, Julio Jones catching deep balls and crossing routes, and A.J. Brown catching slants. I don't know how much bread is left to go around this kitchen table.
All right, so you say Hooker, right? That's who you trust most? You cut out. Say that last sentence.
I said, what is trust when it comes to that, right? Amani Hooker has a big role.
Oh, no doubt. So I'm going to read some comments. So who do you trust the most of these 4 new Titan starters? On offense, there's Firkser, Josh Reynolds. On defense, it's Amani Hooker at safety and Christian Fulton at corner. Rob says he goes for Firkser. Fude says Firkser. Bobby and Clayton say with Amani Hooker. Greg says got to be Firkser or Reynolds. Bimo says Firkser. Peter says Firkser. Nate says Firkser. Let's see. Dom says Reynolds or Hooker. Billy says Hooker. Nate says Firkser. Safe hands with a catch. Danny says Firkser. He's been in the system before and will fit right in with the role he's asked. Seth and Mark go with Hooker. Rob says, and Firkser's bulked up, which has been true, right? Like you and Buck noticed that during mini camps of how thicker Anthony Firkser was
body.
lower.
I think that's the one thing that we kind of noticed when we're talking through when we went to practice during minicamp is he's put on some more lower body weight with his legs, and that has to the strategy makes a lot of sense, right? You have to block some big dudes or chip some big dudes. You got to have that leg strength.
Yeah. So Jarvis says Firkser knows what he has to do. Peter says interested to see Firkser blocks more, but he says him. Alex Firkser, Rude Boy, is the first vote for Christian Fulton. Trevor Anthony Firkser. King Mofaka says, I'm on the Reynolds train. I've always enjoyed his role when Woods or Cup were injured.
So maybe I think you could make an argument for him.
Here's the thing with Josh Reynolds. I want to see what Josh Reynolds looks like this week compared to how I last saw him in mid-June. Because in mid-June, what did I say? He looked slow. He looked sluggish, not explosive. But the talk was around practice that Josh Reynolds is dealing with some type of lower body injury throughout the offseason. Is he healthy now? And what does he look like when healthy compared to A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, who are some of the most explosive athletes the Titans have ever had at the wide receiver position?
Well, it should light a fire under his ass because Julio and A.J. are going to be competing with one another in practice because that's just who they are, right? That is the personality that they bring, which I absolutely love. Hopefully they can do that safely and cautiously, but still have that fire. That should motivate Josh Reynolds more than anything in this world to be signed by a team as the number 2. And then in the snap of a finger, you are pushed back to number 3. And the team has basically said, well, I don't think he thinks he's better than Julio Jones, but the team has said, look, we had to go get another guy because we felt like that would help our team more than you at number 2.
Yeah.
I expect him to come out there and be efficient and trying to prove himself at the start of training camp, or at least I hope he would.
All right. So of these 4 guys with new roles, I think one you trust the least of the 4, and that's Christian Fulton. So I'm going to go 4, 3, 2, 1 with my rankings of who I trust the most. So 4 is Fulton. I think the other 3, you can make a good, solid case for all 3 of them. Here's how I think about it. Third for me is Anthony Firkser. I like Anthony Firkser, but he is going to have to be a full-time tight end. He has never been a full-time tight end who can play every role. Does he have the body for it? He added weight in his lower body. Can he hold on to that weight through a training camp? Can he still be crisp and quick in his routes with extra weight? Can he hold up physically and not get banged up with the amount of snaps he's going to be playing and be productive? So I do have some concern about Firkser and the overall position at tight end.
Well, an example, Jonnu had never been a starting tight end. It had always been Delaney's job. And then injury happened and Jonnu got his opportunity. And as we know, the results are in and he took full advantage.
Yeah, now he's making $12.5 million this year from the New England Patriots and earned that free agent contract.
It can be done, but we'll find out.
Yeah, so when it comes to the next 2, Amani Hooker and Josh Reynolds, the reason why I put Hooker second and I had the most trust in Josh Reynolds is because of what Cam just said right here. Reynolds, just because he's stepping into the exact same role he had in LA where he succeeded, if he was stepping into a number 2 spot at wide receiver, it would be a different conversation. So that's where I say I trust Josh Reynolds the most in his Titans role out of these 4 because he's comfortable. He's done it for 4 years. And if somebody goes down ahead of him, knock on wood, it doesn't happen to the Titans, but if somebody goes down ahead of him, you have somebody who's a veteran who understands the position mentally and physically and can do everything he's asked to do. And he gives the wide receivers so much flexibility because all 3 guys can play from the slot and all 3 guys can play from the outside. And so they can switch that up and use it to their best matchup for whatever week they're playing. Amani Hooker, I like a lot. I really think Amani Hooker is a rising name in the Titans defense.
I'm on the verge of love. I like him a lot.
That's what I'm saying. I like him a lot. He can earn that love this season in his first year as a full-time starter, but he is going to be a first-year full-time starter this year. So
But
that's
he's
why
played a lot. It's
He
not
has played a
like he had to play a lot because of how bad that defense was.
Yeah, but again, my answer is I trust Josh Reynolds the most.
But also for Amani Hooker, and my answer was Hooker. When the defense was so bad, we weren't bitching and moaning at Amani Hooker for being out of position, making bad plays, taking bad angles, dropping intercept. We weren't doing any of that. He was not the problem. So that tells me a lot. You got brand new players, a lot of them, in this defense. I think you got Byard with a chip on his shoulder. You got Rashaan Evans with a chip on his shoulder. You got Jayon Brown coming back from injury and a better defensive line. That's a recipe that says Amani Hooker should be really good.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I do agree with that. So Jason says,
and I think it keeps Byard in his natural position.
Right.
That I cannot emphasize enough. You saw this last year with Vaccaro.
It goes back to what I remember about Amani Hooker when he came out of Iowa. It was a cerebral defensive back who has played multiple positions, the high safety and the box safety, and is really instinctual when it comes to man and zone coverage and getting his hands on the football. What did he show last year? He didn't get his hands on the football. He had 4 picks last year. A lot of you guys commenting with his 4 interceptions. So I like Amani Hooker. Jason says, isn't the right tackle spot up for grabs? Yes. So we led the show with Zach's unique observation about this camp is that there's really only 3 starting jobs up for grabs. It's right tackle on offense. It's one of the 3 corner jobs on defense and the kicker. So then we took that into the 4 new starters. Who do we trust the most between Josh Reynolds, Anthony Ferguson, Amani Hooker, and Christian Fulton? And so that's how we've gotten to where we are here too. Charles says Hooker started 2 games last year, but we know he played a bigger role than just starting 2 games last season. He played a lot of snaps as the third safety, especially as Kenny Vaccaro was banged up several times last year.
Yeah, he played more than that.
For sure. A to Z Sports here live on this Tuesday show previewing Titans training camp. Let's go ahead and ask you this question. I want to figure out what you guys are most interested in. What are you most excited about for this Titans training camp? But first, let me tell you guys about our good friends at the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever that injury happens in life, know who you should go to, who you should trust when it comes to recovery and getting back to full health. That is the Bone and Joint Institute right there in Franklin. They have over a dozen doctors there at their facility, and they streamline the process. They're not going to send you all over town to different buildings for imaging and testing and surgery and the rehab. It's all right there to make it simple on you because you're going through a lot when you get hurt. They're going to make it simple on you. boneandjointtn.org.
BetMGM, that is who we are powered by. Our title sponsor of this morning show, code ATOZ Sports. They are the king of sports books. And if you download their app, you'll understand why they are king. They have, I think, the best app. They give you boosts. They give you Monday free bets. They hook you up. BetMGM, code ATOZ Sports. Download the app today.
All right, simple question. What are you most excited about for this Titans training camp?
Simple answer.
Simple answer. Mike says how fast Ryan and gel with Julio. Ryan gels with Julio there, Mike. Maybe not so simple answer. Aaron says
Will. I think that was a mistype.
Okay.
But
Aaron,
that's not our fault.
Yeah, no. Aaron says Julio. Clayton, Julio. A different Aaron says most excited to see the new defense meshing. Jeffrey says the cornerback competition. Steven says the backup QB competition, and I'm sure we'll have several conversations about between their favorite guy, Logan Woodside, and then Deshaun Kaiser, former Notre Dame starting quarterback.
INT Kaiser?
I saw he's in his career, he's thrown 11 touchdowns to 24 interceptions.
Jesus.
He threw 3 to Kevin Byard in one game back when he was with the Browns. Tighten Up Ohio says Ferkser's breakout season. Been rooting for him for years to get the starting job. Bobby Julio, Michael Julio, another great year from AJ. Who's going to be the defensive control the defense as a leader from Jarvis. Corey says seeing the defense come together and how much impact Jim Schwartz has. So this I'm seeing a lot less Julio answers than I expected. Because to be honest, Julio Jones, like it's Julio Jones. And like, if you're asking what am I most excited about, I'm the most excited to go to training camp practice tomorrow and just sit by number 2 with my iPhone and take as many great videos and pictures as I can of Julio Jones. Because this guy is a Hall of Fame wide receiver who is in two-tone blue, not washed up. Because you've had guys who have been high caliber players at the position come through the Titans building, washed up and be nothing. All the way from Yancey to Eric Moulds to Randy Moss to Andre Johnson. But Julio is different than all of those guys.
Yeah, well, I think that is the easy answer, right? Because it is, well, and for fans, they won't get the opportunity to see that, right? Like that. And so that's unfortunate. It's just a unique year. You can't do anything. They weren't able to see him last year, or AJ at least practiced last year. Nobody really saw Isaiah Wilson because that guy.
I saw a little bit of him. I saw him practice a few times, and what I saw is he wasn't very good.
Yeah, I saw him get blown off the ball a couple of times. Yeah. But so I think this. I'll go storyline because I agree. I think the answer is Julio. That's why I said easy answer. Right? Like, I am most intrigued with how Rashaan Evans will respond to the disastrous year he had last year. And disastrous, let me explain myself. Not disastrous like Isaiah Wilson, but disastrous in where he was selected, where we were projecting him, the next step taken in this defense, the leadership quality that he could bring, the tackling ability, and instead he was a liability. He would run through the wrong holes. He would get big-time 15-yard penalties in ill-advised situations. Rashaan Evans, which way are you going to go? That is I think that could be the biggest question on the defense. I think there's some other big questions. The Caleb Farley, the Bud Duprees, the Amani Hookers. But Rashaan Evans, I think he can change this defense from being bottom 5 in the league. I'll say this. The Titans were bottom 5 in the league last year in team defense. If Rashaan Evans plays a lot better than he did last year, there's no way the Titans are bottom 5 defense in the NFL. That one man, that one role, because of how important it is. And Austin, it's what we've seen. We see him slice through the defense in New England in a playoff game in a crucial 4th down spot to get the ball back for his offense and change a game. We didn't see much of that last year. We saw a lot of 15-yard penalties, 10-yard penalties, holdings on 54, which makes no sense. Yeah. That, I think, for me, going into this year, I had high expectations going into last year. I don't know what my expectations are for Rashaan Evans this year, but I'm really excited to see which way he goes.
Well, and it's also Jayon Brown in a similar situation. Jayon Brown was playing really well until he got hurt, and then the Titans defense struggled and didn't really have that guy behind him. That's why they drafted Monty Rice in the 3rd round. The crazy thing about this camp is we asked this question, what are you most excited about for this Titans training camp? There were Julio answers. There really weren't a lot of Derrick Henry answers. And there really weren't a lot of like Lawan answers or Ryan Tannehill, because that just shows you where this team is at right now. Is that the
training camp too? Right. We asked about training camp. We didn't ask about the year.
No, I know, but
because I want to see if Derrick Henry gets back to 2,000 yards.
No doubt. But that tells you how many people are looking at this team and they know the foundational pieces that they feel so confident about. All the offensive players that we've talked about. And then it's I like the nuance that some of the comments have had. Somebody's been talking about Big Jeff. Big Jeff is slimmed down. Now, how, can he help his pass rush? Can Big Jeff be even better again? And then looking at the scheme, like you guys are getting really deep with your thoughts of what you're looking for training camp. And I think it says a lot about the roster's health overall and reworking the defense with a lot of different new starters that has an opportunity to be a middle of the road NFL defense that gets this team a long way.
Yeah, it really does. Well, we talked a lot of Julio talk. Let's dive in a little deeper because Madden released the top 10 wide receiver ratings, right? So we had rankings, now we have ratings. AJ, I'll just go ahead and preview. AJ not in the top 10. So I think we have to predict a rating. We know Julio's rating. There's some that I disagree and agree with. There's some other things being released, but Madden 22, it always comes out. Great publicity.
Yep.
Let's see the top 10 and ask you an AJ question. But first, I am going to tell you guys about Calvin and Subtle. One of my favorite hardwood floors is this Rivoli. Oh, yeah, the Rivoli. I'm going back to the best hardwood floor that you could buy, in my opinion. Now, I've got a whole slew of samples right here. Calvin and Subtle has hooked a brother up, and I showcase these every day. You can take a look and find your perfect hardwood floor 1 to 2 weeks. Once you find your perfect hardwood floor, they will order the material and install. That's Calvin and Subtle. That's Middle Tennessee. You live in Clarksville, they got you covered. You live in Spring Hill, they got you covered. Gallatin, Mount Juliet, Nashville. It doesn't matter if you're in Middle Tennessee. Calvin and Subtle can hook you up. 615-448-6414. Knock on wood if you're with me. Everybody's with me. CalvinandSubtle.com.
BetMGM, don't forget today at 2 o'clock Central Time, A to Z Sports Picks presented by BetMGM will be live right where you're watching right now with Alan Bell and Brian Edwards. I've seen the rundown for this morning. They're fully shifting into football mode over the next several weeks leading up to the seasons getting going. So they'll have SEC picks, they'll have NFL divisional conversations about where to place your money the smartest way in the preseason. Thanks to BetMGM. Download the app. Use code ATOZ Sports. You get a risk-free bet up to $600 with your first deposit and your first bet with the BetMGM app. So talking Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. We do know Julio Jones is a top 10 Madden-rated wide receiver. A.J. Brown is not. So ESPN put out the top 10 wide receivers when it comes to Madden ratings, and here they are. Julio Jones rated 5th at a 95 overall with Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Hopkins, and Devontae Adams above him. Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, and Allen Robinson round out the top 10 wide receivers. A.J. Brown was a top 10 wide receiver when it came to ESPN's positional rankings with the data they found, but he's not in the Madden rankings, Zach. I do find this interesting because Amari Cooper was not in ESPN's top 10. I don't think Allen Robinson was either. They're missing somebody else, and I don't know if I can find that graphic that I made.
Well,
of who they're missing.
I bet you it's different, like perceived ranking / rating, right? Like Madden should take into account the player, right? And the executives were probably taking more into account what quarterback they have, what team they were on. Like Allen Robinson is a guy who's exiled to a bad offense in the Chicago Bears, but he puts up really good numbers. We talked about Allen Robinson before he got franchise tagged, how badass of a dude that guy was. He catches the ball. It was a guy that instead they got Julio Jones, so Titans worked out pretty well. But Amari Cooper is good. I think Mike Evans should have been higher. Everybody has their opinion on here. Julio Jones rated 95, though. That's pretty
past his prime,
good.
Right?
Right? So,
yeah.
So this brings up the question.
Side note: the two guys who were in the ESPN positional top 10, not in the Madden ratings, are both Ole Miss players: DK Metcalf and AJ Brown.
And we talk about
Amari Cooper and Allen Robinson.
Your rankings. I don't know how that works as far as how you rate, but DK Metcalf is very good at one thing, but not as good at probably quickness and agility as compared to Tyreek Hill, right? So like rating probably is full factor. I don't know what people in Orlando and Canada, how they rank these guys. I don't know how the algorithm, but one thing, side note, your boy, here's a quick question. Where do you think your boy, J.J. Watt, was ranked?
Oh, I already saw this. And J.J. Watt was rated a 94.
Over Joey and Nick Bosa.
And the same as TJ Watt. Look. All right, PSA. In the year 2001, TJ Watt is the superior Watt, not JJ's injured, washed up Arizona ass. JJ Watt does not deserve to be rated the same as his brother TJ. He is throwing some money under the table at somebody to say, hey, you better not rank me below TJ. And why are the Bosas both below JJ Watt?
No
TJ
clue.
Watt, of the four, I think TJ Watt should be number one, then the Bosas, then JJ should be off the map somewhere else, because that is ridiculous.
I would argue if Nick Bosa didn't tear his ACL, he would be above all of them.
Probably.
TJ Watt's very, very good. I don't want to discredit him. But Nick Bosa, he showed me a lot in that first season. A lot. So here's our question. A.J. Brown, not in the top 10 wide receivers as far as Madden rating. What should his Madden rating be? Talk about A.J. Brown, number 11 for the Tennessee Titans. What should his Madden rating be? Austin, tell the fine folks what his Madden rating was before his 1K season a year ago.
Yeah, so going into last year, A.J. Brown, his second year, he was rated an 81 overall on Madden a year ago to start. Now, obviously, they update the ratings as the season progresses and players start to play. So, but he was going into last year, this time a year ago, he was an 81. So based off of that, where should AJ be? A lot of comments are flying in. Paulo says 86 to 88. Rob says 92. Jarvis 92. Jemai 92. BMO 91. Mike Walsh says 90. Aaron says AJ's at least a 90. More comments to read for you guys. Lee says at least an 89. Monsoon says 91. Josh 93 is, I believe, the highest so far. Alex says 91 or 92. Jerome says 88 or 89. Nate says 90. Billy 88. We don't know DK Metcalf's rating either. He's outside the top 10. We'll probably learn that later this week. Jeff says 88 to 90. Xavier says AJ should be an 86, which is the lowest guess of what he should be. Clayton says he should be a 90, thinks he will be an 86. Danny says around 92 or 94, which we know he's not. Like, we know Allen Robinson is the 10th wide receiver in the game, rated as a 90.
He could be a 90, though.
He could be a 90, but I feel like if he was a 90, then they would have to change that graphic to include whoever else was 90.
I don't think they make sense. So I don't know if that would happen.
Yeah, so 93 from Dustin, right at 90 Orlando, 87, 90s, a lot of 90s flying in, 92. So Zach, you are a Madden guy. I have not played Madden, I believe, since like 2012. So going on 10 years, I think A.J. Brown should be an 89. That makes sense to me. Third-year guy who has unbelievable ability, but he's just not as defined at the position as a lot of these other guys. He is more, AJ is a physical freak who gets and has a lot of success because of his mindset as well as his physicality, talent that he has. So I say an 89 makes a lot of sense for where AJ should be at this point in his career.
I think they will rate him an 87. I agree. I think he should be an 89. I mean, I could argue 90, but I'm okay with that. I think the best part about today's age of Madden ratings is they do evolve and they do change throughout the course of the season. Now, the problem is when Dak Prescott goes down, your ass has to play with Andy Dalton, and that's not fun. But I love the realness of it, right? So I'm with you on 89, but my prediction is he'll be an 87 when it's released.
All right, so we'll see what happens. And yeah, Aaron says he'll start high 80s and break through 90 in the season. That's probably what will eventually happen with A.J. Brown. But wanted to have that segment there on this Tuesday. Now, Zach, let's roll with it. Let's roll with our Tuesday sports trivia here on the show. Zach, we have 10 questions for Tuesday sports trivia. We need to get 8 right. I'm going to go back and find our percentages from last week. But Zach, we've got 10 questions. We got one rule: no Googling. Well, two rules: no Googling is one, and then no texting other people to ask for help.
No sales material.
No sales material, right? So, Zach, what is question number one?
All right, let's get to the first question. Let's Olympic question. I don't know this. I don't think we've had this. Vietnam won its very first. Oh, we have had this. We have done this. So I'm going to skip over that. My apologies. It was Vietnam had its first Olympic medal in what sport? We've already done that. I think we missed it. Let's see. Which sportswear brand ended its 10-year association with the NFL in 2011? Which sportswear brand ended its 10-year association with the NFL in 2011?
Yeah, I think Reebok. Jeffrey came in with Reebok real quick. And so did Rob and Jose and Puka and Monsoon and Roland. I think Reebok is the correct answer. I didn't mean to click on Aaron's Adidas comment. Reebok, to me, is the correct answer.
That makes the most sense to me. That was my first gut.
I didn't realize it was 2011. I thought it was before that. So Reebok, final A to Z.
The correct answer, Reebok.
All right, 1-0.
Next question from the pitch. What honor did British footballer Wayne Rooney earn for the year 2002?
He was a wee lad in 2002, wasn't he?
What honor did British footballer Wayne Rooney earn for the year 2002?
One more time. Sorry.
What honor did British footballer Wayne Rooney earn for the year 2002?
I wanted to say the Golden Boot, but the Golden Boot was he like? Is there another honor besides the Golden Boot? I don't know.
I'm sure there is, but I don't know.
Rookie footballer of the year, says Johnny. I mean, I think it could be something to do with a rookie because
that was a long time ago.
Rooney's in his 40s now, isn't he? Or maybe late 30s. So he would have been like late teens, early 20s at that point. Like Puka says, the youngest EPL scorer. Like that's not an honor. That's just like a fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Euro MVP. How many? Man, this is tough. I kind of feel like Golden Boot should be it.
Is that where we want to go?
Yeah. Final A to Z. Wait. Bucket as I jump in and y'all are talking footy. We're doing trivia. So I don't know. Bucket, I've already done it. So go ahead.
Young sports personality.
That's an honor? That's stupid.
Austin getting mad about the answer again.
Well, yeah, but that's a stupid honor. Like young sports personality. Who even gives that? It's a vague question. Regardless, we move on. We're 1-1 here on Sports Trivia. We have 8 questions to go. We're at 75% through 6 weeks.
Let's see here. All right. We have our next question in sports trivia, and I think we can get this. Steve Nash was traded to which team in 1998? Now,
was he traded from the Mavericks to the Suns in 98?
I just watched. So I know this. He was drafted by the Phoenix Suns. And I think he was traded to the Mavs.
But that was before 98.
He was drafted in 1996.
So So the question is, who was he traded to in 98?
Steve Nash was traded to which team in 1998? Is it the Suns or the Mavs? Is it the Mavs or the Suns?
I think he went. So we're
to
saying
the Mavs.
We're saying he went to Dallas.
Yes. I think so.
And at that point, Jason Kidd was where? Because Donald brings up that he was traded to Dallas for Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was still in New Jersey in 98, right?
No. Jason Kidd was in New Jersey in the early 2000, because that's when they went to the finals against the Lakers and lost.
So traded to the Mavs in 98. That is how we feel?
Yes. I think that is the correct answer.
Well, finally, does he lock that one in?
The correct answer is Dallas Mavericks.
Okay. All right.
Dang, I knew that. Shout out to the NBA TV for putting on that. Go watch the draft in 96. It's 2 parts. Very, very intriguing.
There you go. So we're 2-1 through 3 questions.
All right. Here is something that is very particular, but who had a 1.74 ERA for the Boston Red Sox in 2000?
2000?
Who had a 1.74 ERA for Boston in 2000?
That's got to be Pedro Martinez. It's got to be.
There's no way that it would be Curt Schilling. I guess he wasn't on Boston then. So
it's got to be Pedro Martinez. Everybody is saying Pedro.
Do you want to lock it in?
We're going Pedro? Like, Pedro was a freaking beast. Curt Schilling jumped around a lot, but
no, I don't think Curt Schilling was playing for the Red Sox in 2000.
Okay, so Jeffrey says Schilling was on the Phillies at that point. All right, let's go Pedro Martinez, final A to Z.
The correct answer is Pedro Martinez.
All right, 3-1 through 4 questions.
I actually saw Pedro Martinez pitch in Coors Field. He was playing for the Mets at the time.
Yeah.
He did
side trivia question. Pedro Martinez and one other pitcher were the only people who could throw 105 miles per hour on King Griffey Jr. baseball on the N64.
Randy Johnson.
Bingo. All right, let's move on to our 5th question.
Who led the Kansas City Chiefs in rushing in Super Bowl IV? Who led the Kansas City Chiefs in rushing in Super Bowl IV?
I don't know of a single player on that Kansas City Chiefs team.
They lost.
We need the elder demographic to help with this one. Tall Texan says Lynn Dawson. Lynn Dawson was the quarterback. So that
sounds right.
So Lynn Dawson could be a good guess. I think we have to go Lynn Dawson. That's the only name that makes any sense.
Is that where we're going?
Yep, Lynn Dawson, final A to Z.
The correct answer is Mike Garrett.
Yeah, that guy, Mike Garrett. All right.
Garrett.
So we're halfway through trivia for today. We are 3-2. A couple tough losses here early on. We got 5 more questions, but real quick, let me tell you about Mandu. The Pulse of Fitness, 1 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room. Mandu.com. Your first workout is absolutely free. Go to Mandu.com. It's a legit workout, a full body electronic muscle stimulation. I did it on Sunday, still feeling it on this Tuesday. Works every muscle group and puts zero impact on your joints, which helps your old or current injuries, get you back healthy, get you back in shape. Wherever you're at in your fitness goals, you can reach your goals with Mandu at Mandu.com.
Well, the good thing is that whenever I see something that is related to this state, I do ask this question when I see it. So it is a softball. What is our record right now?
We're 3-2 today.
Well, I think we're going to be 4-2. Where did Dallas Cowboys tight end Jason Witten attend college?
The University of Tennessee.
So that is correct. And I only do that. There's very few local ones. Local questions.
So we got to get the local ones in when we can.
All right. So next up, in rugby union, how many points is a try?
6. I'm pretty sure it's 6. Now, Kelkins, who is watching right now, also says 6. I
In
know
rugby union, how many points is a try worth?
I'm pretty damn sure it's 6 because then there's the extra kick that you can make. And we're getting a lot of 5s there too. I'm pretty confident it's 6. Nate says Nate's from Australia, in Australia. 6 final A to Z. He played rugby. I think it's 6.
The correct answer is 5 points.
Damn it. What? Wait, oh. League is 6, union is 5.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that means.
I don't know. I didn't know there's a difference. I just know in state of Tennessee high school rugby, it's 6. That sucks. That really sucks. 4 and 3. All right, we got 3 more.
Yikes. At what college did the 7th inning stretch originate? This is a very interesting question.
This is one you hold on to for forever.
Yeah.
Tell all your friends.
Yeah, you're at a baseball game and you tell the people, hey,
hey, did you know this?
At what college did the 7th inning stretch originate? Man, we've had some hard questions today, I feel like.
Yeah, this is a rough one. This is hard. Orlando says Iowa. Nebraska, Yale. And we're just going to, there's no way we're going to know this. Like, we have so many options to pick from.
It's old. It's got to be old, right? Like, but Harvard? Like, is it Northeast School? Princeton?
Stacy says Omaha. Omaha, Nebraska. I think a Midwestern state is probably a good.
You think that?
A good guess.
College.
Watch like the 7th inning stretch. Be like, yeah, they had to take a stretch in the 7th inning to go tend to the fields.
Yeah, I have no idea.
The
Polo Grounds.
There's no way of knowing. I don't even know if we can guess.
We have to guess. We can guess a college.
Nebraska, just because of the Omaha connection with the sport of baseball in college.
I think my personal guess like Princeton, but we can go with, I don't know. I'm guessing. So do we want to go with Omaha?
No, I was going to say Nebraska, which is in Lincoln, not Omaha, but regardless. Whatever.
So then that's not going to be right.
What is it?
I don't know. What are we going to guess?
I have no idea. Northwestern.
I'm going a Princeton final A to Z.
Fine, whatever. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, it was Northeast. I was wrong, though. Manhattan College.
Okay. So we are 4 and 4, guys. This is not good. Tough.
All right. Who was the Baltimore Ravens backup quarterback for Joe Flacco in the 2011 NFL season? Who was the Baltimore Ravens backup quarterback for Joe Flacco in the 2011 NFL season? So this is the 11. This is the Super Bowl. They won it in 2012. Man, this is a tough one.
Troy Smith.
That sounds right.
No, Troy Smith. Jeff, what year did Troy Smith win the championship?
Yeah, where's Big Ten
Jeff? He was already out of the league by 2011. Tyrod Taylor? A lot of people are saying Tyrod Taylor.
He was with the Ravens.
I think we should go Tyrod Taylor.
If we miss this is our worst performance of all time.
Probably. Yeah. Let's go Tyrod Taylor because, what's his name? Troy Smith won the Heisman in 2006. He was out of the league by that point.
We want to lock in Tyrod?
Let's go Tyrod Taylor, final A to Z.
The correct answer is Tyrod Taylor.
Thank God. 5-4. So we really need to get this one. We can still have one of our worst performances if we miss this.
And it's a hard one.
Great.
All right. Back to the pitch. I don't even know who this is, but what footballer married pop star Cheryl Tweedy in 2006?
Is she also a Spice Girl?
Maybe. I don't know. What footballer married pop star Cheryl Tweedy in 2006? Ashley Cole. Donald coming in hot with a final A to Z. In Donald, we could trust. It's not Beckham because it's not Beckham. Ashley Cole.
Who is Ashley Cole? I don't know who Ashley Cole is.
I think, well, he's a European soccer player. I believe Ashley Cole played for England, the national team.
Johnny says Ashley Cole.
He's a forward.
Johnny says her last name is Cole now. So, all right, Ashley Cole. Okay, we're going to go with Ashley Cole.
This is where the chat comes in big.
To save our ass. Ashley Cole, final A to Z to get to 6-4 for the week.
The correct answer is Ashley Cole.
Thank you. And thank you, Dom. Fine.
No, that was Donald. It was Donald.
Donald. Yes. Good job, Donald. So 6-4. Not good. Not good.
We had some tough ones. The Manhattan College.
We're at 73% now.
That's
what happens. That's what happens when you really drop below that line.
That was by far our hardest run.
That was really, really hard. Like Manhattan, screw that.
Again, I just find the questions. I don't know what.
Yeah. And then the stupid Wayne Rooney honor that was like a personality. He was named a personality. What the hell? Everybody's a personality. That was also stupid. Yeah, the personality award was lame.
And we had a softball with Jason Witten, so we really did bad.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, well, you always remember the college where the 7th inning stretch originated was Manhattan. You will always remember that. Yep. You'll take that with you. All right, guys. We will see you tomorrow on Wednesday. Mike Vrabel press conference at 11:30 Central Time. So we'll see you guys later on. Have a good Tuesday.